Okay, it's a nice day in January here. You can see outside there, mid-30s today. We come to work on the John Deere. Going to start cleaning and prepping, scraping, checking some things out about it here. Getting it ready to start doing the maintenance work on it that we want to do. First thing I want to work on here today is I want to take this floor pan up by taking those square-headed bolts out. I hope you can see them. Just a word about what I'm using the video with. I've got my GoPro camera with a head mount bracket or kit, whatever you would call it. First time I've ever used this. I had to get a pretty sturdy hat to put on my head in order to make it stay stable on my head. I had a welder's cap, thinking that kind of a skull cap would be the better deal, but I couldn't get it to stay on my head, so I've got a regular baseball cap on backwards, and that provided enough stability for the camera to stay on my head. Now, having said that, let's see if we can take this floor pan up off of here. We're going to get enough light on it to keep it somehow here. Put on the gear shift. There we go. Sneak around the back side here. Yeah, that side's loose, per se. Yeah, that one's loose. Good deal. Hope you can see what's going on here. I don't know how well. I took a couple test videos with this camera set up the way it is. I hope it shows what I'm working on well. Okay, there's the underside of that needs cleaned up, which I'm glad I took that off. We'll clean that up. Paint that before it goes back together. And there's the top of the transmission. Just some dirt here and there. New Jersey dirt. Come on. Get in too much of a hurry. So, ouch, dummy. So everything doesn't look that bad. Battery cable, not rubbed through anywhere or nothing. Looks pretty good. We're going to take the battery out, get the battery box off, I guess, in order to clean this up some more. There's some sort of connections that were made. Okay. Yeah, I guess let's take the battery out, get this cleaned up. Got an issue with the battery post itself. If you can see how that battery post is shaking, that happened whenever the starter nose housing went bad and broke. Just my camera here, it's sliding off my head. And the starter apparently jammed, and it caused this to overheat and made this terminal come loose here. The plastic all melted around the battery here and made this terminal come loose. It doesn't always make contact, so I'm going to have to deal with that. Either new battery or something, I guess. It's a shame. It's a good battery, big international battery. It's a good battery, but it's a shame that happened, but it is what it is. So let's see if we can get that apart here next. Get that battery out of there and see if we can clean this battery box up a little bit. Maybe take it clean off so we can rebuild the seat. And then we'll get to scraping on some more of the tractor. Since this tractor is positive ground, which I think is dumb, but I do remember them doing. My dad used to have Mack trucks, and Mack trucks were all positive ground. So it is what it is. We'll get the ground off here first. And then we'll take the negative side, which is actually the hot side of the battery, off. not that heavy. Oh, it's catching on too much stuff. I don't know if anything can be done with this battery to save it or not. I hope so. If I could get it back in place there somehow. Get that thing tightened up. This side's perfect. I hate to lose that good battery. I really do. But we'll see what happens. Okay. You son of a gun. Okay, I have abandoned the GoPro headset, or head mount that I was using for favor of a handheld camera. Got the battery out of the battery box, getting ready to take the bolts out. Got one there, one back here, over here, and one up front there. They're a little bit tight. And so I got going to use the electric impact wrench, try and get them out of there, get the battery box off, see what it looks like, so we can get it cleaned up. Get her cleaned up. You can see she's that's not rust, that's just dirt and stuff accumulated, but rust on the bottom down here. But looks in pretty good shape. I think will be good. It'll be more than serviceable, more than usable. So we're going to get that battery box off there and see what we've got. Okay, got all the bolts out, and this is much for my own references, just to show what we've got there. Notice there's 2 long bolts and 2 short bolts. The 2 long bolts go to the front of the battery box. The 2 short bolts go in the back of the battery box, back in these 2 back corners back here. So we put it back together and make sure we get them bolts in the right place. Last thing we got to do is take this bracket off here that holds the 3-point hitch lever for the draft arms. So we got to get this bracket loose. Looks like 3 9/16 heads bolt or nuts. When we get them loose, that'll pop off. This whole thing should come right up off. Okay, we got that bracket loose right there. That holds that slider for the 3-point hitch. Had carriage head bolts, carriage style bolt in it. Went in 3 square holes right there. I guess it was like that so that it didn't rub a hole in the battery. The battery come loose, which is a good idea. But it's been a while since these have been off. Boy, they're pretty tight. I had to double wrench them to get them broke loose and then take them off with a ratchet. But it had been a while, if ever, that those had been off. Like I say, the owner of this, previous owner of this tractor owned it for 25 years. The owner before that owned it for another 25, 26 years. So, I'd say tractor's a 57, so I don't know if these bolts have ever been off, but that's got her loose, so I'm gonna lift her off of there. And okay, I ran into one more small challenge. This bolt was coming down through the base of the battery box and through these 2 hydraulic lines, and these 2 brackets were holding hydraulic lines in place. Probably should have had one over there. There's a hole there. They're missing on that side, no big deal. But now the whole seat bracket's loose, the battery box is loose. I just got to snake the cables down out, get the battery box up. Okay, there it is. The battery box is off. Had to snake this cable down through the box, but the hole in the bottom of it was plenty big enough for this battery connector to go through. The cable connector, so not an issue there. It's pretty simple. We'll get this all cleaned up here. But the big reveal, we know what the battery box looks like inside. Get my light. Let's see what she looks like underneath here. Oh yeah. Nice shape. That'll clean up nice. I think we're in real good shape. Not going to have to get a battery box. Got a little bit of rust right here on it. Right here, a little bit of, but we clean that up good. But You can see how worn this seat is. You can see the brackets on the front side. They're both worn out pretty bad. The bushing, more than the bushings are worn out. It's worn down into these stubs here. These bolts sticking out here. The boss is worn out on the arms here, so I'm going to have to buy new arms, obviously. Or can I buy new arms? I have to buy this whole, looks like I'm going to be doing some welding. What it looks like to me. Oversize them, put a sleeve in it, and weld it back in to where it's supposed to be. These, I forget how they come off of there. I forget how them go off and on there. I may not be able to. I may have to weld new ones of them on there also. Gonna have to look at Steiner's video again. Remind myself what to do with them. But either way, I can make this work. That's not going to be that big a deal. I can get that rounded out, get a sleeve, put in this hole here, weld the sleeve in. It'll fit on that. We'll be right back. Just perfect the way we want it. The back side here. Yeah, you can see. That one's all, get the light right, that one's all wallered out there, that little short arm. That one from here I can't tell. What's wallered out about it. Those down in there, I'm not sure how good they are. So, anyway, we'll get her tore apart. That's one of the projects we're going to work on here. Get her sandblasted, get her cleaned up. Going to maybe try soda blasting. Thinking about buying one of those soda blasters from Harbor Freight. So we may try that. But that's where we're at right now.